You can't go in on it because he will grill you.
And
he will tear you down.
That's right.
He's very clever too.
One of the greatest treasures in the world of righteous consciousness.
Maxime, who's an educational psychologist, a black woman from this country, who was the first person to be singing from the rooftops that black children actually develop 3 months quicker than white children, and then highlighted the fact that once they get into year 5, year 4, year 5, they start to regress systematically, whereas white children start to excel. She was the person who highlighted that. And who else was there? There was someone else, but Paula Binner. He was the person who did the education conference, brought in these people from the States and put this thing on. He did it in Manchester. So, yeah, they're pirates, these politicians. This man's not a politician. They pirated his idea. But hey, is that time?
Final thoughts.
My final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
My final thoughts. Tonight's final thought. Now it's time for my final thought.
Now it's time. Now it's time for God's final thoughts. Final thoughts. Final thoughts.
Diane Abbott. Is Diane Abbott a racist? What is my thoughts on what Diane Abbott had to do? Well, I've given you a bit of my thoughts on Diane Abbott. She's a pirate. She's a cultural vampire, in my opinion, who utilizes the energy and the vigor of the black community to promote herself. She showed us signs of this when she sent her children. I believe it was to private school she sent her children, while she was advocating as a party line that we should be sending our children to state school. That pretty much told me everything about Diane Abbott. And I've never met the woman, but I judge you by your deeds and your actions, and that was clear as day to me what type of individual you are. Now, on this issue of racism, I've been doing a lot of thinking on racism and expanding on this concept that racism is a team sport. Racism is white supremacy, but it's also a team sport. And you don't have to be white to be in the white team. You with me on this? I hope you're with me on this. So, is she a racist? It is my belief, and I say that for legal purposes because I'm sure somebody who loves her is listening. Yeah, I believe she is a racist because she promotes white supremacy. Being when we talk about white supremacy, we kind of look at it as like this is Hitler type thing. No, it's not a Hitler type thing. And I said earlier in the show, do you have a white person in your family and do they practice white supremacy? Do they try to be in charge? Do they try to be on top? Do you submit authority to the white person in the room? It could be in the shop, it could be in the workplace, it could be in the football team. You know, the white guy is always the captain. It could be anywhere. That's what we're talking about, white supremacy. And I've actually been doing some research, and it's after 9 o'clock, so I'm just going to go there. I've been doing some research on the porno sites. I have. Right. There's a science in my madness, and there's always a science in my madness on this. I'll share it with you, of how whites must reign supreme. Been going on, there's a couple sites that somebody told me about that links you to all the other sites. So yeah, I go on the sites and I'm looking. I'm a man, I got red blood. I go on. So when I go on there, I always click the ebony section. I want to see black women doing the thing, innit? I don't see nobody else. It's not racist, I just love black women. Now, a couple of these sites, they have a section in the sites which says recommended to you. So based on what you've watched in the past, they then recommend things that you should watch. So I've only ever clicked ebony and probably big butts, like big butts. Right, so I clicked that, and over a period of 6 months, I'm always doing research, so work with me on this. So I said, alright, do that and see what happens, because I'm testing this theory of white supremacy and how far does it spread. After about 6 months, I start clicking in what's recommended to me. Right? You get about 30 options on your first page. I've only ever clicked ebony, black women. And every time I click into this recommended after 6 months, it's always white women that they're pushing. They're always recommending white women to me. I did a whole year research, 6 months looking and then 6 months going through the recommending, and it was the same every time. This notion of white people being supreme and being bombarded with whiteness in the society, and you, why can't I see some black women? So that's what I'm talking about, white supremacy. People promote that. In every area of society, you're going to find white people on the top. Now, why is Diane Abbott into white supremacy? Because she condones and supports Parliament. She condones and supports the Labour Party, but yet still says she's black. You support everything that has oppressed black people. You are a part of the institutions that oppress continually black people. You do it. That's who you are. You're pushing and promoting that. So for me, you're on the team of the person who wants to promote white supremacy. So therefore, you are a racist. Racist being somebody who pushes white supremacy. On the issue of whether she's black or not, I've said on the show before and I say it again. You need more than black skin to be black. And this is a fact. Okay? A proven fact. You need melanin, which makes you black, but your melanin also needs to be activated. You need to be doing things that activate that thing that makes you black. It's a chemical, and depending on what you stimulate it with, it will enhance your blackness. Now, there's a lot of black people walking around here who have black skin but have not activated their melanin and are walking around here like zombies, filled with somebody else's culture. To be black, you have to have color and culture. The two C's. That is my opinion. Okay? Color and culture. And when I look at someone like Diane Abbott, she doesn't have a black culture. I don't care how much patois she wants to speak. She doesn't have a black culture. What she does in her day-to-day is not reminiscent of anything black to me. Why am I burning a fire for Stephen Lawrence and the family? While she's twitting about colonialism, she could have been pushing and putting that point. Why are we not having a minute's silence, remembrance? I don't know if she's done it in the past, but something's happened now. Something monumental has happened now. Do it again. Keep on doing it. Repetition. Repetition is what is needed. Keep on doing it. That's why you're there. You can't be there on our ticket, but progressing their ticket. What you do does not reflect what we do. So, as far as I'm concerned, having black skin doesn't make you black. Needs a bit more. That's Diane Abbott. I hope that was clear. Stephen Lawrence. I don't even know if I can add to what Sister Judah said. And that's the ancestors speaking to me right now. As a vessel, ancestors, the spirits, the energies that are harmonious with the universal principles and that are harmonious with the will of the Creator, are telling me there's not much I can add to what Sister Judah said. I don't want to deter from the energy and the essence and the power of what that black woman said, that goddess. Stop and search has increased since the death of Stephen Lawrence. Stop and search has increased since the Macpherson report. Mark Duggan didn't even have a gun on him. Had a gun nowhere near him. Never fired a shot. That was last year. They kill us with impunity. We ask for justice, and I'll put it to you, whose justice? Their justice or our justice? The same way you have Asian food and you have Chinese food is the same way you have European justice and you have African justice. So whose justice did we want? And what justice did we want? I think I said to Merlin Emmanuel, who's the nephew of Smiley Culture, I said to him on Facebook, sometimes I feel like I'm climbing a ladder which is on the wrong wall. Seriously. I think we need to look into who benefits from the verdict and what's happened. And I spoke briefly about the demoralization. And you'll find some science all the way through the show which leads you into the final thoughts. So when you listen to shows in the future, bear that in mind. I'm always dropping little markers to where we're going or where I'm going. You might not agree with me, and I accept you might not agree with me. But if you do value my opinion and my take on things, that's the formula. Who benefits? Who benefits from the verdict? Do we benefit? Does the Lawrence family benefit? Who benefits? James Ware on LBC is trying to push this police agenda. The police have done their job fine. Police didn't do no job. The police were failing in their job, and the Home Secretary took away the forensics from the police and gave it to an independent forensics unit to reassess all the forensic. And it was the independent forensic unit, not the police forensic unit, that found the speck of blood. So the police missed it. It was them who argued the case in court eloquently that made the jury not be able to doubt the evidence. If my dustbin man chooses not to come to my area because it's too black, and you know all the dustbin men are white. If he chooses not to come to my area because it's too black for 18 years, and then finally he's coerced into coming to my area and cleaning up 18 years worth of rubbish, and he didn't even clean up the 18 years, he cleaned up 2/5 of the 18 years, am I supposed to applaud him and say this is a sign that we're moving on and we're no longer living in a racist society? Am I supposed to say this dustbin man is a model of a new dustbin era? And there is a parallel between the dustbin men and the police. Smell, clean up rubbish, all that kind of stuff. There is a parallel. I believe our morale has been undermined. I believe they've given with one hand and taken away straight away. And I believe they knew they were going to do that. And I believe they knew what energy it would generate. And I spoke about life force earlier. That energy, that demoralized energy that would emanate from us, would be fed upon by those people who would defile a plaque for a dead teenager, or defile a grave for a person who was murdered. The same way we benefit from righteousness and we flourish when we're around positivity and righteousness, there are people out there who flourish and grow off of negativity, negative energy, negative vibes. And they have to do everything in their power to generate that negative vibe and to ensure that we lack the energy to move ourselves forward. So I believe there was a deliberate attempt by the powers that be to sacrifice those two individuals in order to undermine the morale of all those people that were supporting the Doreen Lawrence and her husband and Stephen Lawrence campaign. That is my belief. I've seen nothing to deter me from that belief. It's consistent with how these individuals have functioned from the Greeks invaded Egypt till this very day. It was a double-edged sword, but our side was sharper. On that note, it's 2012, so I say to you, control your thoughts and control your emotions. As Doreen Lawrence said, now is not a time to celebrate, and she knew what she was talking about because she knew what was coming. If you don't, somebody else will control it for you. Vanessa Phelps, James Well, BBC, the police commissioner, and all the other idiots who are trying to fill your head with crap. So control your thoughts and your emotions, because if you don't, they will control it for you. And unfortunately, we probably got everything we've earned, and that's all I can wish for you, that we get everything we've earned. So let's start earning something more harmonious with those principles which will elevate us. L, God. On that note, God has left the building.
God's Rock Show.